Next, we will take a look at the energy markets here. And energy market at the beginning of the year has been influenced a lot by what's happening in Venezuela. But over the past week, we can see that the narrative has changed. We are no longer talking about Venezuela. In fact, the country that we will be talking about is Iran. Now, we all knew at the end of last year, specifically on December 29, there have been massive protests in Iran, started by merchants in Iran protesting the collapse in the local Iranian real, okay, which is the currency that Iran uses. This past week, we saw reports of the Iranian currencies collapsing to zero versus the euro. So it is a huge problem because merchants cannot plan to go into business when the currency is falling like a piece of rock. Okay, so this protest has actually spilled over into major cities and he has become violent. Okay, it does not help that President Trump has been encouraging the protester to continue to protest, and he has warned the Iranian regime not to kill the protesters after unconfirmed reports comes in to say that thousands of protesters has been killed. Okay, but I read from other media sources those protesters that has been killed are the one targeted as internal spies, okay, lastly working for foreign agencies. And we also knew from other reports that Starlink, the satellite service provided by Elon Musk, has actually been uh, has not been effective. In fact, Iran has found a way to actually shut down Starlinks. Okay, 90% of Starlink internet connection has been blocked. Okay, not sure what technology they use, but it has been very effective. And the Iranian regime has basically zeroed in on those protesters that has been relying on Starlink. Okay, they believe these are the people that is behind the protest, and that's where the casualties number comes in. Okay, so many reports comes in, it suggests a very unstable Iran with the possibility that the United States may intervene militarily Iran, and that has caused crude oil prices to surge at the beginning of the week, although it did pull back down somewhere on Thursday after President Trump's climb down from his rhetoric saying that he's going to launch an immediate attack. He's just saying that he is not looking to launch an attack on Iran immediately. That caused oil prices to fall back down. Okay, so this has been the catalyst for the energy market this past week. This is the micro crude oil futures traded out on NYMEX. Okay, this is the American version of crude oil, very different from the crude variety from Venezuela. This is the light sweet crude oil. We can see that crude oil prices stabilize at $55.76, jump up to $62.36 on news that there's a possibility that US may intervene militarily in Iran, but it subsequently fell down on Thursday with a sharp fall when President Trump said that he is not looking to immediately launch an attack. So not sure what will happen, but by and large, I think the political situation in the Middle East is very much of concern. We cannot rule out the possibility of US together with Israel launching an attack on Iran. Okay, and Iran has already said that if they ever been attacked, they are also going to attack all the military bases in and around Middle East. Okay? We also saw the US has actually pulling out their soldiers from bases in Qatar, in UAE. So this is a defensive posture before the big attack. So I still believe that something bad will actually happen between US and Iran. So to stay on the long side of crude oil, I think is still the my preferred play here. When we look into energy, we cannot not look into natural gas prices. Natural gas prices has actually rallied from $2.62 all the way to just under $5.50 in a very sharp move. But for some reason, the market has actually fallen back and is currently trading at $3. So we have seen massive rise in natural oil gas prices and an equally sharp fall in natural gas. So technically, I would think that if I believe the narrative between the US and Iran, it will actually end up in a hot war, then to stay on the long side of natural gas should be the natural way to look at this market here. If I get a chance to buy, I would love to buy natural gas, especially if it can continue to go down a bit lower. Okay.